Hi, folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. Adrian, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Very good. I understand you've been listening to a lot of Uriah Heep lately.
Yeah. One album, especially Demons and Wizards.
They did a really nice job with this, by the way. And this cover is done by Roger Dean.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, fame. Pretty nice shot. Pretty nice concept, I thought.
Yeah. I could see the connection between that and the Yes album.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like the Yes album. And
that's the interior.
yeah.
Nice enough. And then this came with a lot of extras. This is just a print of the cover, so you know, suitable for framing. It's quite nice, kind of a matte thing. And then also this booklet, which I think discusses over 3 million and counting. It discusses the album. It may discuss the tour. I'm not sure. Actually, I haven't looked at this yet. It's a 6-panel. It does this here. And there's a whole bunch of words written in here, the subject of which I still need to peruse. It's essentially about how Roger Dean came up with the idea here for the cover, and also what the band was doing, you know, the things you would probably expect for around that time.
I noticed Lee Kerslake plays the drums. I think that's what his name is. He was on the Ozzy's Blizzard of Oz album.
Okay, that's right. Okay, I remember that now.
That's how I recognize the name.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I never made the connection. So yeah, that makes it. That's cool. So he's been around. Yeah, there's some things I learned about this album as we went along, and I mean, for both of us, it's kind of a new group. I got into Uriah Heep last summer, and I was just watching another YouTube channel that kept on raving about Uriah Heep. And, that's actually The Sea of Tranquility, run by Pete Pardo. Just a shout out there.
Yeah, main impression of it, you know, it's got a very heavy sound, kind of like, it kind of reminds me of Deep Purple's Machine Head album, actually.
Yeah, about the same time period. And yeah, I agree, especially with the organ. Their general overall sound is very similar in some ways to Deep Purple, but it also seems to...
also have the vocal harmonies, which... I mean, the only band I was able to think of to compare it to, it's kind of comparing apples and oranges, actually, was Styx. You know, it kind of reminded me of, you know, what's on the Grand Illusion for like vocal harmonies, even the singing style a little bit. But I mean, this is probably a little better than Styx. I don't know, in my opinion.
So yeah, the first track is called The Wizard, and it starts with an acoustic, and it's actually written... co-written anyway by a guy that was only in the band for 1 or 2 songs worth of recording. And he's actually worked in a lot of bands over the years. He's been kind of a journeyman. But it occurred to me this is probably his song, and then they built off it. This has some really nice guitar going on in it.
Acoustic guitar beginning the song. And I think in the chorus of this song, they start with the backing vocals, and you know, you'll see what I was talking about.
Well, an interesting thing is that the same guy, Michael Clark, is also the second vocalist on this song.
Oh,
you know, but if you would go through all the the packages here, I don't know that I saw Michael Clark's name mentioned anywhere. Maybe it's in that 6-panel, you know, thing that they had in there. But I didn't recall hearing about it. I found it from another source. You know, but anyway, yeah, I thought he did a good job there. He and Dave Byron, who is the lead singer for the group, and he's got the very operatic voice going on.
Oh yeah.
So my first experience with Uriah Heep was somebody showing me the cover in the mid 1980s of Wonderworld, where they're all pretending to be statues. So they're all standing like this, and yeah, so it's this. it's kind of silly. It looks like they're all covered in clay dust or something.
Yeah.
You know, but so we thought this was hilarious. And this really was about the full extent of my understanding of Uriah Heep at the time. You know? But since then, I've learned a thing or two about them, and I think this is their best album. This is 2 years before that other one, Wonderworld.
I think some of the lyrics are pretty clever. I mean, they're not spectacular lyrics, but they're good enough. They do the job.
Yeah, that was kind of my impression. Is it's not Page and Plant, but it's really quite good.
Hmm.
So they tell good stories, and a lot of it is written by one guy, Ken Hensley,
Hmm.
whose main reason for being with the band, I think, is to write almost all their material.
Mm.
The other guys do write. They write a couple, like there's two other songs on here not by Hensley, that are by, I think, pretty much everybody else in the band, especially Mick Box and David Byron. Mick Box, of course, being the lead guitar player. There's also Gary Thane on bass. And yes, Lee Kerslake is the drummer on this.
Oh, Lee Kerslake.
Yeah.
That's how it's pronounced.
Well, that's just a guess. I don't know.
Oh.
Somebody out there is probably groaning. It's like when you call Worcester in Massachusetts, Worcester or something.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
So he does some pretty nice drumming on this, but so
That's the part that has the high harmonic vocals in it.
Yep, with Michael Clark. In fact, while I'm sitting here, I'm going to read up on Michael Clark. Oh, Mark Clark. His name was Mark Clark. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, so I was talking about Mark Clark and not Michael Clark. Sorry about that. But he's played, Coliseum, Mountain, and Rainbow, as well as he was in Uriah Heep a very short time. He was briefly there right around the top of 1972, performing and co-writing on one studio track, The Wizard. Yeah, and I know that he's the other singer on The Wizard. It doesn't say that there. But anyway, props to Mark here. And I think he went on to several other bands after that. Yeah, here we go. Tempest, Ken Hensley, I guess, had Billy Squier. He was on the Billy Squier albums.
Oh, wow.
I happen to think that Wizard song is pretty important for setting the tone of the album, and there's really nothing else that sounds like it. So the next track is Traveler in Time, which is cool for its extreme wah.
Yeah. I call it classic rock.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, very nice stuff there. Yeah, there's so many good parts of this song. I like the end too, where they more guitar hijinks, just like Jeff Beck, was doing. Yep. Great song, I think.
Yeah, classic rock.
And then Easy Living, which was kind of the big hit off this record.
Mm-hmm. First time I really noticed the Hammond organ, which gives it a very, very Deep Purple sound. That's kind of where I made the first association with Deep Purple is with this song.
Totally get it, yeah. And that too, the break in between, listen to that. That's totally Deep Purple.
Yep.
Pretty cool track overall. It really rocks, actually.
Definitely.
Next track on this is something called Poet's Justice, which I'd never heard of before I bought the album, but it's one of my favorite tracks, and it just reminds me of something that might have been on the Hair soundtrack, or, it's like got that very late 60s, like 69, maybe 70 kind of sound to it, It's got a great build-up. Yeah. Listen to the bass.
Yeah, bass is really nice.
It's groovy, man.
Yeah.
And then, it goes up into I don't know if this is why I think about Hair, but this part. And then there's really cool organ.
Oh, yeah.
Streaming up and streaming back down through this. And this is Fripp sounding to me, this guitar. Yeah, that guitar totally reminds me of Robert Fripp.
Yeah, some great instrument, great music in this. Great musicianship.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And there are other surprises in here that are really cool. You got the dual guitars going on.
Yeah. And one John Lord.
I love how bombastic it is, See, that's pretty cool stuff there.
Oh yeah. I just noticed the same as before. Good organ sound, and vocal harmonies, and yeah.
There's so many vocal things going on there. I've got to wonder just how many of them are. There must be a lot of them singing at the same time, although they're not.
Mhm.
It doesn't say anything about that in here. It only has David Byron. Of course, we know
Maybe
that's
they
not.
multi-tracked him. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Although they didn't credit Mark Clark, so except for as a writer on Wizard, but so it's hard to say. Sometimes they just kind of say, well, this is the general idea of what happened on the album, and it's not really all that precise. That might be one of these cases.
Can't wait for the next song, Circle of Hands.
Yeah.
I thought I was listening to the intro to Court of the Crimson King.
Yep. I had exactly the same reaction.
It changes. Like
Yeah.
in the middle of
Yeah.
that whole riff, that chorus or whatever. And the intro,
I know.
this song, the chorus is Court of the Crimson King. But
Yeah, when I heard it, I kind of groaned at first. The first time I heard it, I'm like, no, come on, no, guys, it's been done. It's been done, because it was pretty contemporary. It'd been 3 years earlier.
Mhm.
So, they definitely heard it. But, then they did something else with it. And there are some pretty interesting things going on in that song. So here, we'll show you what we mean. And then they change it.
There was one line that stood out. Today is only yesterday's tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I
pretty good.
was a little bit impressed by that.
Yeah. I think that's a Ken Hensley line. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They changed it quite a bit after the introduction.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do.
They kind of did make it their own song, but
Yeah.
Was lost.
Yeah, there are a lot of little parts in
Full
this.
of lies, down to their graves.
I've got to check out some live links of Uriah Heep from the time just to get a better understanding of this group.
oh yeah, I'd love to hear these guys live.
But the music is solid on this record. I did listen to probably the first 6 albums by them, and I think this is number 4. And this is, to me, this is the strongest one. And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of debate about that.
Mhm.
And there's so many great moments on this album just throughout. And on repeated listenings, you find more and more things to be impressed with. So if you're just getting into Uriah Heep, this is a pretty good one to start with. Of course, if you run across the best of Uriah Heep, which is usually found pretty cheap, I'd pick that up too, and that'll give you a nice overview. And it's got a few of the songs on here. So it really, it rocks up towards the end.
I think the first time I noticed the piano was on The Spell, which is the last song on the album.
Oh, yeah.
I hear it now too.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, it is definitely on this. This is another epic track. Really, it's hard though. They've all got their epic moments. Pretty much every track on this album has an epic moment somewhere in it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, wow, that's amazing.
It's probably my second favorite song on this album. My favorite one would be Rainbow Demon, the next song.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one too.
I just love the main riff and the organ.
This one I
It's
understand.
really heavy.
Yeah, it's totally heavy. It reminds me of Deep Purple, but it also reminds me of Black Sabbath a little bit.
Kind of, yeah.
This part is pretty Black Sabbath.
Kind of, yeah. I can see that.
I mean, Ozzy could have
I
sung
think
this.
there were a few bands that kind of had that heavy sound to them. Black Sabbath was one of them. I think there were some other bands that kind of had a similar sound too in some of the songs.
And their earlier albums too are pretty interesting and a little bit more raw in a way. Like this is kind of polished in when you compare it to everything that was before it. Yeah, let's go up a little bit. And you know what's funny is in the chorus, the guy's doing the the background vocal. It sounds like he's got a bunch of Neil Youngs back there, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got that Neil Young tremolo sounding voice going on there. Setting sun. You know, I agree. This is a great track, Adrian. There's a lot to like about it. And it sludges along. Yeah, it's totally sludge.
I love this song.
Well, so the next one's called All My Life.
It's I thought it was a good pickup after Rainbow Demon.
Yeah, it really is. And this one actually kind of reminds me a little bit of a Zeppelin riff, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, so totally.
Yeah. Very Zeppelin. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Nice. How they sing that.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
It's bombastic. That's the word that keeps coming back to me. It's way over the top, but in a good way. It works.
Yep.
It's kind of funny. It's almost cartoony in some ways, but it's good.
Yeah.
And then we have, it's actually two songs, but they frequently get referred to as one, and they kind of spill into each other. It's kind of a two-song.
Yeah, it kind of fades into the spell from Paradise. Which is,
it may be two sides of the same story, or something. I'm not exactly sure. But I dig this. This is another one where the acoustic guitar is really...
Yeah, I liked that. I like the acoustics.
Yeah.
This one.
Like the first one starts with acoustic, and then the second one gets much more upbeat and electric.
Mm-hmm.
Another great acoustic driven. They have vibes going on and everything here. Okay.
I should probably also note this is the longest song on the album, The Spell.
Oh, yeah, The Spell by itself. Yeah, that's the lengthiest one. And Paradise is it's over 5 minutes itself, so.
Yeah.
And I love the little change up they do here. Yeah.
I just thought Paradise had good acoustic guitar, and I like the album in general, so I like Paradise and The Spell. The Spell was the first time I noticed the piano.
Oh, yeah.
In the song, but I guess there was one in one of the earlier songs. I already forget.
Oh, yeah. Circle of Hands had it.
Circle of Hands, yes.
Pretty epic stuff there. So I like their build-ups at the end of that. And then it spills right into The Spell. And there's your piano that you were talking about, and also organ.
Yep.
There's a lot going on in this one. It's kind of David Bowie-like. Yeah, there we go. And this is very Pink Floyd to me. Adam Hart Mother.
Yeah, I wonder if they heard Adam Hart Mother before.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they did. Yeah, Uriah Heep is a UK band.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, Pink Floyd being UK, I'm sure they knew what was going on with them.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like it now that you mention it. I didn't notice it before, but you're right. It sounds kind of like Adam Hart Mother.
It's of its time, that's for sure. That's the end.
So this is definitely like, what's called early metal. I kind of think of it as hard rock that kind of gave birth to heavy metal.
Yeah.
Bands like, Deep Purple, Sabbath, Zeppelin.
Yeah, no, I would agree. They were big time hard rock pioneers.
I don't know. I think I read something about Tony Iommi saying that he never really considered Black Sabbath heavy metal, but hard rock, and it kind of makes sense. I think I kind of agree with that. It kind of gave birth to what would become heavy metal.
That's what the guys in Led Zeppelin said too about their band. And I agree. They're not strictly a heavy metal band by any stretch of the imagination.
Or the godfathers of heavy metal.
Yeah. I mean, these are hard rock root bands, and in a way. So yeah, we've just never really given that much of a look to Uriah Heep, and I'm realizing there's a lot to love in their catalog, especially the first 5 albums.
Yeah.
Interested. So everything up to Magician's Birthday.
Okay, I'll have to listen to more Uriah Heep albums, and this is the only one I've really listened to.
All right, well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed our little parade through Uriah Heep's history and listening. And if you enjoyed it, please consider a like or a subscribe. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you'd like us to check out.
All right.
All right. And until next time, folks, we'll see you.
See you guys later.